Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 Broodwar versus Starcraft 2 cast. Yes, you heard that right. This is going to be another game from the SC Evo mod, a very cool mod indeed, where you have Starcraft 2 or Starcraft 1 Brood War races put into Starcraft 2. This is a custom mod that some people have worked very hard on, and it really is incredible. I think it is just the right amount of difference in Starcraft 2, because it's still Starcraft, but it's still new and refreshing, but then at the same time it's old, because we got these old looking SCVs here. And so, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, make sure to go ahead and click that like button if you haven't already. If we can hit 17 likes, that would be amazing. Join the Discord, which is linked down below if you want to become part of the community, and leave a comment saying more Brood War versus SC2, more bots, whatever it may be. Those comments do help with the YouTube algorithm. Or let me know if you're a fan of winter and the snow. I just moved to a very snowy place, so we're gonna see if I'm actually a fan of the snow or not. And yeah, so we have got openings coming out of these two players, Han Mono and Quanta being the two players. Both of these guys, I believe, are Korean players. They kind of specialize in this Brood War versus Starcraft 2. I think they both dabble in both games. I can't say that for sure 100%. I do think that it should be a good match between these two. We have got a Reaper opening from Han Mono, and Quanta, being the Brood War player, obviously can't make a Reaper, so he's got to make two Marines just to be safe from Reaper shenanigans. And then we have got a command center on the way for Quanta, so everything is looking alright for the Red Terran player, just wanting to get up an expansion nice and safely. However, he's got to be careful because it's difficult, I imagine, to defend against StarCraft 2 Reapers with just StarCraft 1 Marines. They're slow, like Marines are without stim pack. So we see Quanta going into a Vulture, kind of the first tanky unit you can get as the Brood War Terran. Now, of course, the Brood War Terran, they can't exactly drop mules as well, so that's going to set them back a little bit economically. But the mod makers do design this with balance in mind, so if anything's completely broken or anything like that, they will sort of tweak stats a little bit. We do have this Vulture actually going to find the Reaper, and Vultures are pretty speedy, so I believe it is actually quicker than the Reaper. It had no problem killing that one there because Han Mono wasn't quite expecting that. Now the Vulture does have to be careful though. It doesn't quite have spider mines yet, so it can't toss those down. We'll see if he researches that later on, but for now this Vulture does actually kind of duke out Han Mono's Reapers and Hellions, which are moving across the map, but this is going to leave his own command center exposed. He's got 2 Cyclones on the way, but those aren't out just yet. One SCV does want to finish that command center if possible. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we do have the 2 Hellions and the Reaper in the main base. Looks like we did get a Wraith just finished up, though not exactly the most damaging unit, but it will clean up these ground-based units no problem. Wraiths actually deal, oh, I guess that's their air attack. Their versus ground isn't great, but Reapers and Hellions don't have the most HP in the world, so that does help out. We do have Siege mode now being researched for Quanta. That's something that StarCraft 2 Terrans haven't had to research for a long time, since Heart of the Swarm, or in Heart of the Swarm, I want to say, it became a default upgrade. So that made life a lot easier for Terran players. Brood War, the fact that it doesn't get updates, it has never got that. We now see this one Wraith tickling SCVs. It looks like you can just kind of out-repair the damage it does. It's, of course, something that Han Mono will want to deal with, and so he does bring his 2 Cyclones in. They lock onto that Wraith, and yeah, maybe the Wraith isn't exactly the best Brood War unit out there. It does get taken care of, no problem. The tanks, though, for Quanta will be formidable beasts, that's for sure, as they deal a massive amount of damage. These Brood War tanks, they fire slower, but they deal more damage. They've even got Mjolnir, that's Thor's hammer shot cannon. So that means they're not messing around. We've got Interference Matrix on the way for Han Mono, so he may potentially be going for a bit of Cyclone Raven, attack to potentially try and break his opponent. Pull a fast one over on Quanta. Quanta, though, is being safe. He's getting out a third siege tank. I'm not sure there's enough energy on the Ravens to disable all of the tanks, and man, these tanks, they will like two-shot these Cyclones, maybe three-shot. Let's see. Versus Armored 70 versus just regular 52 damage. Are Cyclones armored? They are indeed armored. So they actually will be two-shot by these siege tanks, I believe. Yeah, they definitely will. So that's why even though Han Mono had vision of this, he's like, maybe not. Now, we do have another Wraith that's actually been produced. It's just harassing some poor SCVs. I mean, it's lost mining time. Maybe he'll be able to kill one. I do like that he's shooting the one in the refinery, microing that Wraith as well. So targeting the injured one, getting the kill on that. Looks like Raven comes on in, tosses down an auto turret, but the Wraith gets on out of there. They are pretty speedy, all things considered. Quanta is just sitting back, getting up that third command center. Bio isn't really a thing for Broodwar Terrans, so that actually means that we're pretty much guaranteed to see mech, and I mean, I'm saying that after the fact. There's already double factories, but I just kind of wanted to reiterate that. That's why you don't see Bio out of, that's why we're not seeing Bio out of Quanta. Han Mono, well, it doesn't really exist in Broodwar as well. There's no Medivacs, which combined the medic and the dropship into probably one of the best units in Starcraft 2. Now, Han Mono, he is answering mech with mech, which I do find interesting. I do wonder if that's because he's a Broodwar player, so he doesn't really play too much Bio. He's also building up a good amount of energy as well. I'd like to see him make sure he's dropping these mules, so his macro is slipping a little bit. Once again, maybe that's the fact that he is a bit more of a Broodwar player. Like, you maybe want to have, I guess maybe he's keeping it in case the Wraith gets cloaked, but it's not getting cloaked. And you at most want to keep like 2 scans. So I'd love to see Han Mono drop as many mules as he can. For now, though, he is just producing his own tanks, getting up a turret to prevent that Wraith from coming back on in. Do go drop the mule hammer, Han Mono. I demand it. You almost got 200 energy on one command center. I guarantee you he's going to realize at some point and be like, oh, right, mules are really good. And just drop them all. I imagine that will happen at some point. He actually gets a little bit supply blocked, tossing down some supply depots. Once again, he's got the extra supplies he could utilize. He's not doing that. We do have some Raven auto turret harassment. Manages to kill 4 SCVs on the Red Terran side of the map, so Han Mono is at least getting some damage done. He's very heavily supply blocked. He could have resolved that with a supply call down, and yeah, it just goes to show that if you're an expert in StarCraft 2 or you're an expert in StarCraft 1, that doesn't necessarily transfer over immediately. Like, these guys are going to be a little bit out of their comfort zone, if depending on what they play primarily. Like, if you're a Broodwar Terran and you're all of a sudden playing Broodwar in StarCraft 2, it's like, it's the same, but different. And then you're up against a StarCraft 2 Terran. We did see all those mules get dropped. There they go. That is a lot of money for Han Mono, as, I mean, it's about 250 minerals per mule. I think it might be 270. Don't quote me on that 100%. But yeah, all in all, that's about like 1,500 minerals he just brought in over the next minute. Mules are good, guys. And that's something the StarCraft 1 Terran doesn't have. So that is going to be an innate advantage for StarCraft 2 Terrans. Let's see, we've got double armory now going on the way for Quanta, so he wants to make sure he's got his upgrades going. He's littering the map with these spider mines, however the Ravens are revealing them rather handily, so they will get taken care of quite easily. Both Terrans are on 3 bases. We are seeing lots more command centers going up for Han Mono. He's like, hey, those mule things, they are pretty good. Let me just build a bunch of these command centers, and look at him. All those mules have given him a nice little bank, 1,000 minerals. Things are looking good for the blue Terran player. We'll see if Quanta can potentially take a fight, though, as he does have those strong Broodwar siege tanks. Both players are moving out on the map. Now, Quanta He does have Ravens to supplement his army a little bit as well. They're okay, but really it will come down to Siege Tank versus Siege Tank, and that means it's also going to come down to air versus air, and I really don't know how good Wraiths are against Vikings and Ravens in the skies. I do think that the Vikings and Ravens will be better. We shall see. In go the Wraiths, but yeah, they don't really amount to too much. Cyclones on the ground, Interference Matrix getting some damage done, and yeah, Quanta is in quite a rough position. We're seeing these Siege Tanks hanging back in the natural. They do help deal with an auto turret rather quickly. But yeah, Han Mono, I think he may be here to stay. Mass Interference Matrix going down, taking out all but one of the Siege Tanks of Quanta. Han Mono is pushing forward. And now there's 2 more Siege Tanks on the high ground. But, oh, actually no vision on them to finish off those tanks. Looks like Han Mono is heading back home. I believe Vultures were giving him a bit of grief, as those Vultures, their animation does look a little bit goofy, but they do cut up those Hellions rather easily. They are being chased down and killed. I'm a little surprised that Han Mono decided to go home. He's definitely got a big lead in this game, though, up on supply. He's got this beastly army, air control to boot. And I could see that being a big thing in the TVT or SC2 versus Broodwar matchup. Just the air control from the Vikings. It's so important in TVT, and all of a sudden it's just like one race doesn't have that. Yeah, I don't know. That's not going to be easy to overcome. Looks like these Vultures are going to get cleaned on up once again. We do have the Broodwar Terran at least securing up a 4th base. I imagine he probably wants to build some turrets out on the map. If I had to take a guess, he's building lots at his natural base to defend that location, but I think I'd like to see a few get littered out on the map. Quanta's got a nice mineral bank, as that would really mess with Han Mono a little bit. It would help him retain some map control. We'll see if that does indeed get done or not, but for now, yeah, these Vikings, they can kind of just take control of the skies. Imagine if there was like a Banshee or a Liberator, there'd be nothing to counter it for Quanta. We are now seeing Goliaths on the way, which is important. And they very well are most likely the answer for Quanta in order to have something that zones away those Vikings. Goliaths have incredible anti-air, and then they're good units on the ground. They're my favorite Starcraft unit, I think, in general, as they're just so darn cool. The double weapons they have they're like mini Thors. They're amazing. I will carry the torch for Goliaths all the time. We do have Charon boosters increasing the anti-air range of those Goliaths, so that's going to be very helpful. Siege tanks are sieged up en masse at the back for Quanta. However, the interference matrix showing their strength once again. There is a nice deep tank line for Quanta. However, these 2 armies are in very awkward positions. Scans going down on both sides of the map. It looks like Han Mono may just be able to get towards this 4th base. We do see 4 more siege tanks coming on in. They got to get sieged up for Quanta. They are going to get sieged up, but there's more interference matrix going down, and all of a sudden those tanks are useless. I mean, the Raven really shining through. We do have some Goliaths coming forward. They can at least zone out this army a little bit, but those Ravens, as long as they're pulled back, they won't go down. They're still going to keep getting utility. We are seeing Han Mono really try and push on in, and it's not easy to push on in to your opponent's siege tanks. He's trying, though. Looks like a lot of SCVs were sacked just to hold this position barely for Quanta, but it's really difficult to dislodge the siege tanks as Quanta. He's going to have to replace those SCVs he lost. Han Mono does have a really good base count. He has been in control this whole game, it seems. I mean, of course, it's not been really tested at all, but I do think that StarCraft 2 Terran may have a bit of an advantage here. A nice tank line. I mean, they all actually unsiege because I guess they were caught. Might have done better if they just were able to get 1 or 2 more shots off. Quanta is reacting to this. He does still have a decent army out. Nothing that Han Mono can just disregard. We are seeing Ravens come on in. Once again, Goliaths on the ground will help zone them out as the SCVs are being rebuilt. I think we need to see a 5th base be attempted for Quanta, just so he can guarantee that income. Tanks are shelling away side to side. We do actually see Quanta moving out. He's deciding to take the aggression to his opponent, which I think is a very wise move. Han Mono has invested in a lot of infrastructure, but all of a sudden, he doesn't really have much of an army in place to deal with mass tanks and Goliaths coming his way. Goliaths do pretty good against those Cyclones, So Quanta, I think he should be able to get a little bit of damage. We do see Han Mono maybe panicking a little bit, bringing everything home. There is one tank on the high ground, a few at this other base, but Quanta may be able to secure himself a very nice position. We do see mass amounts of interference matrix go down. There's so many Ravens for Han Mono. Just all of a sudden, all the tanks are useless for Quanta. Most of them get taken out. Man, Ravens really are OP when it comes to taking on a Broodwar Terran that doesn't have Vikings to counter them. Really good choice by Han Mono to make use of those. I honestly thought he was going to have a much harder time dealing with that army. I guess Quanta needs more Goliaths. He's going to have to replace all those tanks. He's got a scan goes down, reveals that base down there. Maybe some harassment can take place at that location. For now, though, I think the Red Terran's just got to sit back for a little bit. His tanks are a bit late to the siege. We're seeing an engagement. Looks like he does hold on for now. Cyclones are moving forward. Maybe this base can be harassed a little bit. A couple auto turrets, yeah, are causing big problems. We're finally seeing some turrets get built in the middle of the map. But those Ravens do take some of them out. Quanta is really back to square one. We're seeing more and more Ravens being produced by Han Mono. And yeah, this is not looking too good for the Red Terran. It's been a gradual beating. He's been taking tanks against tanks. One shot got off, but vision isn't there for Quanta, so he's actually going to lose those two tanks. Resources lost, I imagine, are massively in favor of the Blue Terran, and they are indeed. I mean, it's been so many tanks killed off by the Ravens. And let's see, what is Quanta going to do? He's getting up a science facility. Is he going to go into science vessels or something like that? I can't really say. We do see a scan going down at this location. Both Terrans keeping tabs on each other. Both of them are getting close to maxing out. Han Mono a little bit closer. I think Quanta's just going to need a lot more Goliaths. Like, he's only got 7, and there's 17 Ravens in the sky. We saw what happened last time. This time, I think we do need to see some more anti-Raven, because look at that, more tanks being disabled. It's just non-stop disable by Han Mono. Siege tanks are getting sieged on up. They're gonna keep shelling away, but yeah, no 5th base has been secured by the Red Terran. He's in a bit of a rough spot. Okay, Vulture's trying to make a play to potentially give some more momentum back to Quanta. He's having a hard... I mean, he is getting a little bit of damage done. He's got spider mines out on the map, but the Ravens have an even more value, are able to get the kill on those. Quanta is at 160 supply and struggling to retain it. He's really just sieged on in. He's just pinned to death, it looks like. He's really mining out. His main base is mined out. He's chosen to actually land that over there, but now he's going to try and break down this ramp, sieging his tanks in the face of Han Mono's tanks. But look at this, there's going to be mass interference matrix once again. The Ravens come on in, just neutering the army of Quanta and showing us that the Ravens really need to be countered. I would have liked to have seen some more Goliaths out of Quanta. I don't know what else you can do. It's going to be interesting to watch the meta evolve for this matchup. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what this mod is. It's relatively new. The tournament's kind of it's maybe had like 6 iterations, so these guys are still developing the meta. More and more pros are picking it up. It's very cool to see. If you enjoyed this one and you watched all the way to the end, go ahead, click that like button if you haven't already. If you think you could beat a Starcraft 2 Terran with Broodwar, let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning in.